Guten Tag, willkommen, PopCulture Reacts, as we are working our way through Rammstein self-titled slash non-titled album, depending on which way you go round with this one.
Something
And
with
we're on
title in it, in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
and we are on track two radio. Um, Obviously just had giant epic video with Deutschland
Yeah, we're straight into another video, aren't we?
into the second video with radio. One of only three of on this album, so you've only got a couple of videos, but
Might be able to focus on some lyrics at some
yeah.
point then.
um, shall we just jump in and get our radio on?
Yeah, yeah. The only thing I'll say is big boots to fill after that first track. Good luck, radio.
Achtung, Achtung! Hier ist Berlin König Wusterhausen und der deutsche Kurzwellensender. Wir senden Tanzmusik.
that was I would say one of the most infectious beats and musical performances I think I've ever experienced with them. Even to the point where I'd say the term uber catchy. Like that is, and bearing in mind, obviously the song's called Radio or Radio as pronounced like, but I could see that getting radio play like a lot because I think that really does, and again, not to sort of do it down, but yeah, I think great, really, really. I could see this is a bit of one that I am humming on my walk to work tomorrow.
Yes.
Unless someone hates it for that, but yeah, really, really grabbed me musically.
Yeah, because it does the weird thing of having the saccharine pop hook, but yet still having that Rammstein
Yeah,
marching stomp.
yeah,
That
yeah. It's kind of when it goes, jud, 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 it fits as you say that kind of catchier end of the pop tunings. But then you go, yeah, give me more of that. Like maybe all pop songs should have a bit more of that in it. Maybe I'd listen to a lot more.
so I don't know if you were following on with the lyrics on this one, but this one very much is of the time of the wall being up
I
and
presume
the
there's
different.
autobiographical kind of elements to this. That was my presumption from it. And as I say, yes, it did
Yeah.
manage to kind of, as cool as the video is, and we'll get to the video. A lot easier to take in the lyrics at the same time on this one than it was Deutschland. But yeah, I know we've touched on the kind of their history before, and I'm relatively convinced when we talked about it that at least Till was t'other side of wall. But
Yes.
yes, like it felt very much to me like that. Yeah, this is that autobiographical story. But whilst being autobiographical, going beyond just his experience of it, but that experience of when freedom is taken away from you to the
Oppressed.
degree that that the expectation is in the West that something like the radio, something like being able to listen to music or broadcast in some way, shape, or form in the wee hours of the morning when no one can judge you or arrest you for doing it becomes, I guess, your shining light to what can be that kind of beacon to freedom. And like a lot of the stuff that I was picking up from is that that can be as powerful as any physical protest or anything like that. Like that can be a hugely powerful tool.
Yeah. Obviously, we've done similar sort of messaging with some of the Nina Hagen stuff because obviously Nina was
Yeah,
the wrong side of the wall as well. And like her stuff going about how the difference between what they
yeah.
could and couldn't do and stuff back then. But it's just that thing of see before we did it to break a little bit of the fourth wall. You're like, oh, radio rock like Radio Gaga. It has that
What a basic bitch I am, though. It's
infectious,
the only thing. But
but
but even when they get to that last run of it, they put that effect on it, so it's kind of more of an electronic voice. And
yeah.
I almost was gonna go Gaga at the end of it.
But it does have that similar
Yeah,
carrying that Radio Gaga does with Queen, but as I said, with just that Rammstein stomp behind it,
and why
and
wouldn't you? I mean, like we talk about things like that, and we go, there's a real big argument for going, um, use like so you're looking at it and you're kind of going, okay, this is the difference between the East and the West in that era, but use Western iconography to hammer home that how important it was or stuff like that. But yeah, I thought that was
yeah,
a really good touch. Loved, by the way, and this is my description. I don't think it's probably how they envisaged it, but when they were using the organ stroke keyboard throughout, like it kept invoking 70s and 80s sci-fi shows for me. And but it was that thing of going, and it's me projecting myself onto it. I don't think necessarily this is their design thought, but going, yeah, like if I was around at that time, I was listening to the radio, I probably would have, like I'd have been listening to sort of sci-fi stories because I want to escape to another world, and I don't know, it really sort of twigged to me. I kept going like, God, some of these sounds wouldn't sound out of place in like an episode of Blake Seven or something like that, and I loved it. I loved it for it. It felt like it grounded it closer to the time that they're speaking of.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said again, this when I first got the album and see followed Deutschland with this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it was worth the wait. It's worth the wait. It's worth the wait.
It's a really strong 1-2 punch, isn't it? Like I said before the video, I was quite, even if you forget the video side of it, I was quite, my concern would be, how do you follow Deutschland? And I don't know, like ultimately, however people rank stuff or whatever, but it doesn't feel like a massive downturn after something that was so strong. And I think catchiness really helps on that. But I think because it's such an interesting to me, an ideal set in a set period of time, and like we said on Deutschland, a lot of the stuff that makes it so strong is whilst being set in a period of time, this still happens in the world. There are still
Yeah.
people who are living in areas of the world where they are not afforded the freedoms that I think we would all want. So yes, it is as relevant today as it was, or as it would have been when Till was living through that, as it was 100 years beforehand when people were living through this. And I don't know, a bit of a. I know I said it in there earlier about the radio and potentially music being as good a driver and a protest as I don't know, let's say like a real revolution against power. But again, that's forever. Like,
Yeah.
and I think there's something in the power of. We've talked about this a few times with these, and we talk about them on certain other bands where we have, or certainly I have somewhat fallen in love with the messaging of going. Not every song needs to have a really powerful message. However, a song that has a really powerful message is an amazing thing because it has the ability to get out there to a much wider audience than, for example, someone talking about this or making a speech about it, because I think people are more naturally inclined to lean into something that's under the entertainment banner, but also
Yeah.
it's more likely to sneak through because I would say that not every despot leader out there in the world, and that's more so what we have now with suppression, actually would listen to a song to find out what it is, to discuss a song in it. And
Yeah.
it can be used as such a driving force.
So let us
History
down
of
there.
Germany, more history of Germany, stroke kind of what it's like. Yeah, this is some powerful stuff already, isn't it?
Yes. So as I said, down there, let us know what you think of radio. As always, YouTube your things of like, subscribing, and ringing the bells. And we'll be back next time with Zigdish.
Which means
Show yourself.
very forward of you, but yeah.
So until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.